Let me have Harold.
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. I got one.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
We're good? All right.
Good.
Well, good afternoon. Today's date is August 4th, 3:30 p.m. We're changing locations based on more air conditioning down here, so but we'll continue in our budget session. And so we'll go ahead and start this afternoon with our county auditor.
Okay. I've passed out some handouts, and the first one I wanted y'all to look at was I did a comparative expenditures of the 2020 versus the 2021 budget. And when you get down to the bottom, there's an increase overall of $419,635, and that's overall. So just to kind of show you the difference in the 2 years, based on what we have right now. For 2020.
Increase of expenditures.
Mhm. Yeah, based on all the changes and everything so far. And all funds. I mean, that's all funds, not just, I mean, that's everything. Just to kind of show you. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Now, is this with raises figured
Yes, sir.
in and everything?
Yes, sir.
At 5% or 10%?
5%.
That is in there?
Yep.
How much? 5%?
Yes, 5%.
How much is that? 5%.
Yeah, where is that on here? Is it on here?
Well, I mean, I've given y'all that previous.
It's in the general.
It's in the general fund. I mean, that's the general fund or well, it's in the general fund.
I don't care. I want to know what it's going to cost us. What's the?
I mean, we had given y'all that previously on your
I know
payroll.
you have. I know you have. I'm just asking what it is.
It is
And it was a difference of, Ida, help me remember, it's on the second sheet,
the 5%.
where the difference
Is it
is.
with FICA or without?
It's with.
With the 5% is 294,171.94.
Right. That's the difference. It's on page.
294,171.94. It's on this sheet she gave us the other day, looks like this.
On the second page.
$171.94. It's this page here.
Okay, 219.
It's on the second page.
Well, we usually don't put it in there until we approve to put it in there.
Well, now, I have to put it in there so you can see what the difference is. I mean, there's not a way for me to do it otherwise. I mean, we've always done it this way. I mean, I've always had to go ahead and put it in there because that's the only way I can do the totals. I mean, I don't have another way of doing it.
We haven't always done it like this.
Well, that's how, I mean, now what do you mean, Maureen, that we've not ever done it that way? I don't know what you mean by that.
We've always, we had never put it here till we decided exactly what we're going to do, we put it in the paper.
Well, we have. I mean, Marita had always put it in the budget, and then if y'all change it, we go back and change it again.
Well, it really don't matter. It hasn't been approved or anything.
No, it hasn't been approved. It can
It's
still be
okay
changed.
on
It's
that.
just in there now because that's the only way I can get the numbers.
But see, the other day, we were talking about it, like I say, we always do. We told her to go ahead and figure it with 5% minimum, so that's why.
Yeah. Usually we figure 2.5 and 5. But, we know what, she gave us those figures, so we know what the numbers are. So I just had to figure it in with them.
the biggest, right, I mean, the 5%.
Okay, so tell me again, the 5% increase for all, what is it, add to the 5% increase?
294-171-94.
Isn't, how about the 2.5?
It is 121-813-94. It's on the second page there of that duty guide. Uh-huh. That far right column.
In the 5%, it's 170,463 additional. That, I mean, the balance right here without the increase is gonna be 170,463.06, I'm sorry. So I took the 419 and netted out the races, if that's what you're asking, Mike.
174 what?
No, it's 170,463.06.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead. Or anybody have any other questions about this comparative expenditure? All right, if not, go ahead.
Okay, the next sheet I did was an estimated revenues and other sources versus estimated expenditures and other uses. When you get down to the bottom right, it's $243,215. But that's taking into account all the other funds as well. Normally I would pull those out because those aren't counted as part of the ad valorem. So the amount that we actually need is $287,720. And that's due to Fund 10 being over $189,042, and Fund 18, $98,678.
Could you give me that 287 number again?
287,720.
That's what we need to make it balance.
That's what we would need to budget to balance the budget.
No, we didn't find any money to put in that fund I've been talking about so far either. For that, so,
Yeah, but there's 900,000.
do what?
There's 900,000.
We hadn't designated any other thing.
But it's
All
just,
right. Any other questions about this sheet? All right.
Okay, and the last sheet I have is the tax levy for 2021. And this is based on all the information that I get from Nikki. I will let you know up front, there was a mistake in our worksheets. So she's correcting that. So I'm gonna get a whole new set of worksheets. And I'll have to recalculate it again because it will adjust the effective rate a little bit. So but it's not gonna be that much. It may be a 1/10 of a cent is what it's gonna change it, but it is gonna change it. So I'll have to look at that once I get them. But the total taxable value is $1,789,250,262.
Do you know offhand how that compared with the last year?
I've got it included in here. If you wanna look down to the middle of the page where it says last year's total taxable value.
Yes, I see it here, thank you.
And the difference is $121,167,821.
Okay, it's a decrease.
It is a decrease, yes.
do we know why?
And that's mainly because of oil, I do have a list, if you wanna look at it, we can make copies for you. But it shows, and I can compare it to last year, that there's several different, on the state category breakdown, there are several reasons, compared to last year. There's several of these that fluctuated. Some went up, some went down.
So
But the biggest thing is oil and a lot of the economic.
So the taxable value decreased $121,167,000.
Yes,
It's a lot.
yeah, it is.
I think that says a lot about the future.
What next year?
Wait till next year. That's right. It's tough out
The tax ceiling is at $219,081,551.
Now say that again.
The tax ceilings,
Okay.
the actual tax,
Okay.
and the actual tax is $963,721. And that's something that's untouched, that we will collect, and I have to add that back in to the, taxable, or to the, levy. I add that back into the levy because we will get that. That's like a fixed, permanent tax that we will get. The taxable value for new improvements was $9,138,879. And if you'll look down in the middle of the page where I have the new improvements, it did increase over last year by $5,285,865. And then moving on, the effective rate right now is 0.6953, which is on your sheet right here in green. And that's referred to now as the no new revenue tax rate. And that amount, the levy would be $12,377,717 plus the actual tax, the $963,721, which would be $13,341,438. The notice and hearing limit is at 0.6953, and the same amounts apply. And then we have the rollback rate, which is referred to now as the voter approval tax rate. And that rate has gone up to 0.8591. And the levy on that is $15,293,457. And then you would also add in the actual tax, which would bring it to $16,257,178. And then our preceding year's tax levy, which is our current tax rate at 0.6180, is $11,001,690. Plus the actual tax is $11,965,411. So you can see that because our taxable value went down, our rates went up. And we are below the effective rate. We are considerably below the effective rate. So what I did for you, I also showed you the tax levy for 2020, for the 2020 budget versus the 2021 budget. And what I mean there is the 2021 budget is calculated at the current tax rate with the current taxable value. And so last year, this year is $12,663,52. That's our levy. 2021's levy would be $11,965,411, which is a considerable decrease of $697,000. So I wanted you to see that. And And that's because of the taxable value. Then what I've done is I've just put some numbers together based on our current tax rate. And these rates down here are, the first one, the 0.6330, that's taking our tax rate, and it's 1.5 cents. And that's what it's gonna earn. The levy plus the actual would be 12,289,76. But that's to show you that when I did all the calculations, looking at our expenditures, we would fit in that area. And the difference that we would earn between the current tax rate, if you look right above it, it's going to earn 12,021,288, which is not quite enough. But it's a difference of 268,388 if you do if you consider the next tax rate. And then the next one, this 0.6380, is at 2 cents. And that one would earn $357,850 more. But I just did that to show you that where we're at budget-wise in our expenditures versus the revenue, we're really in a not so bad spot, because we can still stay below our effective rate.
That might help.
Mm-hmm. By a lot.
Would this 6430, would that be considered that the rollback, or what that?
No, that's still under the effective rate. I mean, all of those are, and that one I figured at 2.5 cents. And that one would earn 447,313. It would be that much more. We would still have what we need. And I know right now that might be clear as mud.
It's different, the math is different, I mean, the way, lot.
Yeah, it's a lot different because normally our taxable value doesn't go down as much, and this year it did. I mean, I don't know how to explain it when.
But it's just formulated different.
Yeah.
Different.
It is. I mean, it jumped a lot. Looking at last year's compared to this year's, it's a lot of difference.
So that's based all on oil and stuff like that?
She said mainly oil. I mean, I can if you want me to. What I can do is go back and, have this for you, where I compare the state breakdown. I mean, most of it is in, I'm not going to say most of it because it's different ones. I mean, when I was looking at last year's versus this year's, there's just changes. One may go way up and the next one may go way down. And so it's in different categories. But she said mostly oil and gas, and until that stabilizes or gets better, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like.
They took a big hit in that industry this last 3 or 4 months.
It's up to date.
was something else to think about on this sheet, is 20 budget versus 21. Those numbers come from us spending 100% of the budget.
Yeah, and all of this is spending 100% of the budget. I mean, which you all know we don't do. But we do plan for it.
What
Because
does
you
three,
never know when something might come
what
up.
does 3 cents, how does it increase like $100,000 home?
I didn't figure that, Carla. I have a
Is it like
calculation, but,
$3 or is it wouldn't it be like $3 or?
I mean,
is it 30?
I know when I did it last year, I don't have my budget book. Can you run and get me a budget book? My 2020, I think it's on my table. And I can tell you, I wanna say it was like $49. It's not that much.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
100,000?
I think it was 100,000. And that number just popped into my head, I don't know for sure. I know it's kind of a lot to absorb.
Do you know when she'll get you the other calculation?
I'm hoping I'll have them later today. I just had to, I did find an error and she had to fix it. But I don't think it's gonna, like I said, it's probably gonna be a 1/10 of a cent as far as the rate. What shocked me the most was the rollback rate. Cause it's at 0.8591, and last year it was at 0.655 something. So it just shows you the fluctuation. It was $51.02 for last year, for this rate. And it was an increase of 0.051020. So it's less than a penny for $100,000 home. And I don't know, you may want to take this information and kind of absorb it, and before you whatever y'all want to do next. And if you want me to, I can certainly recalculate, a 2.5 if that's what y'all want me to do. I'm gonna need time to do that.
I mean, you've already done that,
Mhm.
so all we have to do is just track that amount from the other instead of 250.
Yes, sir.
Probably 290.
And even with the 5%, we're not that off.
What if we did this, what if we gave Melinda a chance to see if Nikki could get her those numbers later today, and maybe come back at about 10 tomorrow morning, is that too early?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I have a little bit longer?
because I had mental hearings starting at 3:30 tomorrow, so what if we come back at 1:30 tomorrow?
Yeah.
I got something going on in the morning.
In the morning, okay. Is 1:30 good with everybody? Okay. Then, any questions of what we're looking at?
Yes, sir.
On this zoning revenue, was that considered what we look at now as the current rate? Was it both of them?
No. No, that's always been, that's the effective rate. And, last year, we were a little bit above the effective rate, but we were below the rollback rate. So, we were okay. This year, we're way below the effective rate. So, and I don't know how else to put it, but that's okay. Because we don't have to be at the effective rate. We don't have to be and we don't need to be.
Well, just seemed like last year, all those numbers were close to that. That 05 really is out. Compared to last year.
Really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of difference. When you look at both of them, which I can do for you if you want me to, but it is a lot of difference. And that's because of the taxable value. When your taxable value goes down, your rates go up. If your taxable value goes up, your rates go down.
Let me ask you something, you may not, I don't want to put you on the spot. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the year, how much do we usually have left in our budget?
We
An
have,
average, give me just a ballpark figure.
That we didn't spend out of
Yeah.
100%.
And be conservative. Give me a conservative. If you don't like those margins, do that, that's fine.
I probably have that figure upstairs.
I'm just curious
I
on
was too.
where we are year after year. Because I know we budget, to meet our budget, but then we always end up, no one spends 100%, well, I guess some do, but the majority of us don't spend 100% of the budget.
What, looking for the average of what we do.
Yeah, I figured at the sheriff's office, lots of times, I turn back in $300,000-$400,000 every year, because there's too many variables to budget for, because you got a budget for, you don't wanna run out of food, inmate food, you don't wanna run out of inmate medical. We always have shortages in staff, so you may go several weeks with no salaries, and that's where you really pile up money, is when they're not paying salaries, and that includes the FICA and the insurance and all that, those first, 5 items in our budget. And that's where that money can you really gain money.
That's where we, because in the salaries, that's where we, last year we were able to give probably the largest amount back into the employee benefit that we've ever given in it, and that was over $600,000.
We paid,
And then we also paid, the
park, the industrial
yeah,
park.
I don't remember, it was close to $400,000 out of that. So, but if you're talking overall, I could probably work that up real quick just to see what the end of year.
If you wouldn't mind, I think that'd be a little better avenue of where we're at, because, I look and say, we're not gonna spend 100% of everybody's budget, but if you put a number with that, then we sort of know what we're looking at.
Judge, you mentioned that when you were sheriff, you usually turn back in a large portion, $300,000-$400,000. And I'm sure David will too. Well, couldn't we take that money, put it in that fund?
Well, you have to keep in mind that, I mean, you can do that, but that's also what goes to fund the employee benefit for the
Well,
claims.
employee benefit's
So,
pretty good right now.
Yeah, but remember when, they came in, y'all did, they gave the option either to increase the contribution or keep putting that at the first of the year that was left over from the prior year. But if y'all recall, in the audit, we were over 900,000 in the black
Yeah.
for last
at
year.
the end of the year,
So, I mean, that's,
that says a lot.
And I know we roll those funds over, and Kenny, I'm as much for what you're talking about as anybody, because I lived through that for all those years.
You
But
did.
I really think that's where, if we're ever gonna be able to put money aside, it's gonna be out of that rather than trying to budget it.
Well, then you specifically know how important it is.
Oh, yeah.
You know what it is, so.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not trying to undermine it, I'm just saying, for us to set that budget time and say we're gonna designate that X number of dollars, we might be better suited at the end of the year, roll some into the insurance deal, and then roll some into that fund. Because we're dealing with money that we haven't, we haven't spent.
And I'd be
We
okay
haven't
with that.
budgeted, because, and it could vary. And I tell you what's really gonna help us is when we get that industrial park paid off. Because we put $500,000 in that every year. And basically out of leftover money, right?
No,
No.
Left over budget, or
there's
is
a
it
tax,
budgeted?
yeah, there's a
That's
tax
what I
for
Alright,
that.
okay.
There's a special ad valorem that goes toward that.
we just had more expenditures than what was anticipated.
I mean,
Okay.
toward the bond.
So
Now,
what
yeah,
you're saying is these expenditures that were
Yes.
had is where we pull that money? We didn't
Yes.
pull the payment out of it?
No,
Okay.
the payment's made with ad valorem money.
Okay.
Because that's designated, and that's how the bond had to be set up.
If you look at the breakdown of the taxes.
It's in there.
The
Okay.
percentage is in there.
Right.
This year it's gonna be .0247, I believe, is what it'll be this year.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Is that Abernathy deal, is it just never gonna pay much tax? You know which one I'm talking?
Good one now.
The Abernathy deal, is it just not ever gonna pay?
It's paying, but it's not paying near what we
Like we
thought it
thought.
was. And we're still
70% less.
getting in phases and, percentages. Yeah, we're getting more every year, but it's not near what we
I
thought
kinda
it was
always
gonna
think it
get.
would go up with
Yeah.
that.
But when you lose 70% of the value,
Yeah, they
Did last-
decreased the value of $90 million. Well, that hurt us considerably on the revenue we was looking for out of it.
Yeah, that would about cover our decrease in taxable value.
Yeah.
It would. Get close. But I'm still not sure how that come about, but we lost.
Yeah. And the bad part, it had nothing to do with us. That all occurred down in South Texas. And so it just affected us. Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, then we'll stand in recess until 1:30 tomorrow.
We're coming back here?
Yes, ma'am. Let's just stay in here.
Okay.
Because I know it'll come back and do some more work, and I think he said they had upstairs fixed.
Well, it may be, it was still awful hot up there.
Yeah.
But it's always hotter up there. It's the last place to cool off and the first to heat up.
We all there, Carla?
Nope, but we can do.
Yeah.
You continue?
Huh?
Did you say you'd continue